Hey there. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to talk to you all about what is it that makes somebody coachable? Like, how does one know, hey, coaching may be for me? And so there's a few things that I like to just generally look for in these conversations. And by the way, there's no expectations whenever I have these types of conversations as to whether somebody's going to work with me or not. I'm not sitting around in my notebook going, do they check all these boxes? I just use these as general teaching points for you all to kind of catch what I'm up to. And so, three things. One, are you teachable? Are you open to feedback? Okay. Not everybody's open to feedback. Not everybody cares about what somebody thinks. And that's okay. That's up to them. They're an adult. You get to make your decisions and you get to live with both the rewards and the consequences of them. That's fine. But you have to be, in order to for the coaching experience to be worthwhile, you got to be open. You got to be teachable. You have to be willing to admit when you're wrong and celebrate when you're right, and everything in between, right? Because it's not just this like, uh, I come to you, Joe solves your problems. Like, that's not what we're up to here. This is not school. Okay, you get what you participate in. So your participation equals value. Your openness and teachableness allows for growth to compound as time goes on. So the more teachable and the more open you are with yourself and with me and with your commitment, I promise you are definitely somebody who is very much ready to be coached, or taught for that matter. So are you teachable? Okay. Are you available is number two. Like, if you're about to go overseas and serve in a desert far, far away, it may not be the right time for you to maybe coached, like, or you're about to move across the country, some things may not be the right timing. That's normal in life. There are seasons of busyness. There are seasons where even myself, I have not. I have found that hey, this is not the season right now to be coached. The budget doesn't line up. The schedule doesn't line up. Um, Whatever the case may be, it's just for a season. I just know that there are moments in all of our lives that hey, I can't commit to this, so I'm not available, and I'll have to wait. And so that is something that's very tangible. Look at your schedule. Are you truly available? Hey, I want to commit to 1 hour a week of these coaching calls. Where's that 1 hour going to come from? And if you're willing to invest in that time, great. But if you're looking at your calendar and going, I don't want to, I'm not going to budge on my schedule to make this happen, then no, you're not coachable because you're legitimately not available, and you'll just look at me like I have two heads whenever I say I can't help you because you're not available and you don't line up with my schedule or your schedule. So you got to be available. You have to be teachable. You have to be available. Thirdly, and most importantly, you have to be faithful. You have to be willing to see through your commitments. Not perfectly. I'm not looking for perfect little minions that have these great results and have nothing but good things to say and happy go lucky calls. I'm looking for people who are willing to simply work and show up and be in conversations and be open to feedback and call forth the conversations that are beckoning their vision and calling them into the world in a new way. That's a gift. Whenever you live in that space, whenever you are open in that capacity, get out of the way, because let me tell you something. Because in my experience, being faithful does not equate to being perfect. Being faithful is a willingness to see through on your promises. And so if you're faithful, you'll make your time, you'll call forth order in your schedule for the time to do the work outside of the calls that's required. Because in this coaching process, I tell everybody, while we have really good, powerful conversations in those 60 minutes, the real work really happens in the time between, whenever you're actually at home with your partner, looking them in the eyes, living in vulnerability, living in integrity, living in honesty in beautiful new ways that you've never lived in before, which is awesome. That's how it ought to be, because you're the one that's responsible for your results ultimately. And my job is to stand with you, stand for you every step of the way. And so Are you faithful? Are you available? Are you teachable? If you can say yes to all three, then I would love to have a conversation with you. And maybe you're not. Maybe you're realizing like, hey, I fit maybe two of the three. What do I do then? Well, we can still connect and just discover, hey, what is it that's holding me back? Because even the availability conversation, let's be honest, we make available what matters. So if something matters to me, I will make myself available. The one of the most clear examples of that are um, births. So whenever a baby's born, which unless you have like a scheduled C-section like we've experienced in our family, which is really convenient, um, you don't know when this little child's going to come into the world. So, but whenever this child starts, whenever mama starts showing signs of, hey, it's going to happen, everybody makes time for it. People fly in, people arrive, people all of a sudden just conform to the needs that are there because they're excited and happy and woo. And it is good. It's a good thing to make time for and to fight to celebrate with the people that you love. And so if it's like an availability thing, we literally it might be a question of like, what do I see the value in? Do I see the value in it? And if I don't, what is it that's holding me back in that stance? That's okay. That's what the whole point of maybe us connecting is. So the availability thing is truly it can be used as an excuse. It can absolutely be a reality. It can absolutely be something that is very reasonable and understanding of, hey, not this season, but later or another time. But if it's something more, it could be more, you just don't know. Well, let's have a conversation. There's no judgment. It's simply a conversation. So faithful, available, teachable. Would love to connect with you. If you know somebody who fits all those and you know that they're fighting for something that they care about, but are just hitting some walls, hitting some ceilings in their marriage or hitting some ceilings in their life, like would love to be a resource to them. And what some of you may ask, well, what do I do if one of my like if I'm faithful, I'm available, I'm teachable, right? But my husband or my wife isn't, then what? Great question. So I always tell people sometimes it's okay for just one of you to be coached. And in my own experience, that's actually was the case. I needed it more so for myself than at the time M needed it. I was open, I was available, I was teachable, and no judgment on her. Didn't have the same feelings, wasn't the same pain points. I had pain points that looked like what were priorities to me, and I needed to really rage war and fight for my vision at the time, and that then over time allowed for M to see what I was experiencing, and then for her to eventually join me to be coached together. And it really did work out. And in my experience, I actually end up seeing some couples doing that. In fact, usually I see couples who one starts and then as time goes on, the other one's like curious and wants to see if this whole thing's real or legit. And we just have a conversation and they get enrolled because they see the breakthrough. They're seeing their partner transform their life, which is transforming their marriage, and they want to come alongside of them. And if they don't, like no judgment, there's plenty of opportunity for the person who is available, for the person that is teachable, for the person that is faithful. So if only one of you thinks that you fit all three, great. That's okay. We can still work in that space without judgment towards the other person because it ultimately is a decision that you get to make as well. So I hope that answered your questions about what this could look like in a relationship, especially whenever one partner does want to do it while the other one may not. It really does take one person to transform a relationship, and I believe every part of that. So let me know what you think about faithful, available, teachable. FAT is another acronym to put it. Didn't mean to do it that way, but it works, I guess. Um, I sincerely hope that that criteria makes sense, though. That is what I'm looking for with clients. And if you fit that, or you know somebody that fits that, I'd love to be a resource to them in any way I can. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope this was helpful.